how would you assess a situation or assess someone who you deeply care about who just can't get out of a certain situation, and no matter how much you try and guide them? Let's say, for example, if someone is someone close to you, right, whether it be a parent or whether it be a sibling or whether it be a significant other, how do you not allow yourself to fall victim to,
To what lies in that path.
I don't want to use suffering because that's a different subject. I guess yeah, because
It doesn't always have to be suffering, but suffering
nah,
is life. Those victories are
yeah.
few and far in between. But
Mhm.
leave, leave. My little sister, for example, man. I wanted to see her off to college. I wanted her to finish high school. I wanted her to do all these great things. And at some point, I want her to get a car. At some point, when am I being too abrasive? At what point am I being too pushy? At what point am I going to ask myself, does she truly want these things for herself? Even though she's telling me she wants them, she's only telling me she wants these things to either shut me up, to give me a false sense of hope or pleasure,
Yeah.
or just to try to get my approval in some sense. If you don't want these things for yourself, don't tell me that. Don't lie to me. I want you to be in a successful position. But at that time, we didn't come to a consensus with one another. So I left
Mm.
cold turkey. You know, it is what we make it. And what I made it was something that was necessary. For me just disappearing was allowing us to have time away from one another to find out what are our intentions for one another. And my intents for her were to be in the position that I wanted her to be in. I wanted her to be in a good position, something that I thought was good. I never asked her what her, I mean, I can't say I never asked her. I don't remember what her concept of good was, but I know what I wanted for her wasn't what she wanted for herself. Split.
Yeah, I guess that's the truth.
Earlier, we were saying
Hmm.
time and distance, space in between two events and conjoining points is going to bring things together. And lo and behold, we're cool today. Took a couple years, but we're cool.
And how would you advise someone to accept if things don't come together? If things if time doesn't heal it, if time not heal it, but if time doesn't repair it.
That's too many questions. You're asking yourself too many questions. You're already you're already giving up. You're already
Yeah, I
giving
see
up
that.
because you're thinking ahead of what your purpose is. Don't think about what lies beyond your purpose. Think about what your purpose is. That's it.
Mm,
My purpose was to reassess what I wanted for her. And I found out what that was, and I still didn't hear from her. And then when I talked to her, it changed completely because she was a completely different person than what
mm,
I thought she was. You know, my idea of her, they were completely different people.
mm.
Yeah, but distance, they're going to be completely different people, regardless of what happens in that distance and during that distance. Hopefully, they're different people to themselves more than to you. But if not, all right, so be it. But as
Hmm.
long as they are different in some aspect, because it gives you insight on how to move forward.
Yeah. So you're saying in the sense that it doesn't repair it, right? That's already failing. If you believe time didn't repair it, or time didn't repair something in that, just because you two aren't back together, or where you imagine you'd be, it doesn't mean that it wasn't something wasn't repaired. Maybe you have a
Right.
better understanding the differences between you two, or maybe there was a so the minute you believe that time didn't repair it, you're accepting a what do you say, failure?
Is it necessarily a loss?
No, no, it wouldn't be. But
I don't think it's a loss in it. You're getting rid of a dead limb on your tree. That's all it is. You'll
mhm,
grow a new one.
yeah, yeah.
You'll grow a new one. It'll grow its own fruits, spawn its own fruits. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean, like I said, there's no such thing as a burned bridge. Impossible to have a burned bridge. It sounds nice, it sounds cool, but it doesn't exist. If you go in with the idea of hoping for anything other than wishing the other person well, probably setting yourself up to fail in anything else outside of that. Because it just sounds like wishful thinking. People can always be better. It's a choice, but better by your terms, better by their own terms. But when you relink up and you still have the same idea of, oh man, this person hasn't gotten this far or gotten this or did this XYZ, or they don't want to be associated with me in this way or any of these things, you had already predetermined what you wanted from them. If they're not on that level already, you shut them off.
So in a sense, it's like when you part ways with someone for the sake of just, it just wasn't it wasn't seeing eye to eye, or what you wanted for them was not what they wanted for themselves. So, if for any reason, if you part ways with someone, what you do is you just, like you said, let go. You know what I mean? Unless if it's a loved one or whatever the case is, let go, and you don't hold them to whatever you did before. When you see them again, you're going to see them with new eyes,
Hmm.
and in a sense, you're meeting them again. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're reconnecting with no attachments to what they once were, or what you believe them to be, or what you once were at the time. To them. So, and you basically meet them again. And if they still aren't there, or if they, for any reason, aren't in the same place as you are, more mentally than so then you let go again,
Yeah, why
if
not?
need be. If need be,
They're
yeah.
they'll be
Okay.
a completely different person. So what's
What
if
would the attachment be?
exactly
Yeah,
precisely
yeah,
because this is a completely different person. It's like,
yeah.
oh, you're coming back into a situation or an event where it's like, oh, this might be the same body, the same physical expression of that person who I used
Mm,
to think they were, but this is someone completely different.
yeah. I think that's where a lot of
No attachment.
a lot of resentment, a lot of pain, a lot of is when, and I think we do that too much. Is that not enough of us live in the idea that we need to be, like you said, I kind of want you to say it because I don't want to quote you, but about being a better version of ourselves.
Yeah, each and every day. I'm not gonna say that.
A lot of people they don't live by that. So
No,
they have
it's a part of
this.
the lie not to though. And to be a doer, you have to set out your intent, and your intent has to be pure heart, has to be pure mind, pure body, soul, all of that jazz, whatever you want to call it. It just got to be pure. It's got to be something that's just solid enough for you to just talk about it, breathe it, live it every single day, man. It's called passion, you know.
Yeah.
You just got to do it, man. But when it comes to other people, it's never gonna align. It's never going to align. Well, I say that with a lot of goofiness involved. 'Cause it's possible because that's what a good team is. A good team aligns their morals, principles, and efforts throughout the duration of time to accomplish a singular goal. That's what a good
Mm,
team is. And even in relationships, bringing it back to that, if both parties or all parties involved have a singular concept of what's achievable and they all have a good ideal of what each other represents to them and to themselves,
yeah.
and then they devote at least some time and effort toward that singular goal, they can accomplish it. But how do you communicate with somebody who, even though they're speaking the same language as you, they're speaking a completely different language? That's difficult.
Let me ask
So
you this:
yeah,
how often? How would you say the idea of how often has the idea of team failed you?
you need cooperation with your partner, which is a team.
Yeah,
But I think it comes down to communication and societal politics. Societal politics play too much of a role in a two-person relationship, man. Anywho, yeah. So 90% of the time, I'd say a team has always failed me, always outside the military.
yeah. Oh, I have a question, but I also have a statement. And like, how do you battle passion? You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you even argue with passion? It's hard. Like,
Ooh, that's intimidating. What do you mean, as like a team member fighting another team member who has passion, or someone who has passion fighting a team member? Is it within that
no,
context
not
of
with
a team
no,
member, or
not within the team. It's
okay?
just I mean, but it can be. If that's
You
the
can't.
yeah,
You
you
can't.
can't,
That's
bro.
a
And
losing. Anytime you arguing with somebody with passion, it's a losing war.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
now my question is, at what point were you always this passionate about everything you did, or at what point did you become passionate?
Everybody's life is full of events. You know,
I guess would you say that for so long it was like love is the answer, love is the love is this, love is that, love is this. You can't lose if you would love. But I'm getting to the all right. I'll ask this:
love is not the answer, bro.
how would
That's
you
a fairy
separate
tale. That's another lie people tell themselves to go to sleep better at night, bro.
love and passion? Same thing, pleasure and happiness, love and passion.
The way I separate them, because I don't know what's right, what's wrong. With I think it's relative, because everything is relative, right? But I think how I do it, I separate love and passion from passion is an absolute truth. Love, you can lie.
There can be this
Love, you don't have to be right. Passion, you are right. Love, you don't have to be right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. That's a lot of people, like I was saying in the other call, a lot of people will lie to themselves day in and day out of a relationship, convincing themselves that they're happy. They're not. Convincing themselves that they love their person, their partner. They don't. They love their children. They don't. That they're happy with their life is all the front. They're like, what's going to push somebody to go further? Competitiveness between me and my brother, sibling rivalry. That's something that people use to propel themselves forward.
Hmm.
Any forward momentum that I can get in my life, I'm going to try to utilize, and I think that should be embedded into people because then what are you doing? Look at society now. Everybody gets a trophy. You're not better than that team because you lost. You know what I mean? Like, what does that breed? Why does it still feel like how? Why does it still feel bad that we lost? I'm getting rewarded for losing and feeling this way. So you're telling me feeling this way is right?
Uh.
And then we get older and we feel this way. This is right, but I still feel these ways, and I don't know how to articulate these things properly.
In losses, you're saying? In losses.
And losses, anything that can make those emotions swell. You're not properly understanding what that emotion is. You're misplacing its identity. You're misplacing what it's supposed to represent. That is supposed to be fuel. You fight not to feel that again. I love my next partner harder and better. I listen and I understand and I treat them harder and better because I don't want to feel the pain, the hurt, the emotional and physical responses, and all that jazz. Those responses of losing love again or
Yeah.
losing. Because sometimes a relationship isn't even about love; it's about competitiveness,
Mm.
which is cool as long as it's fun and playful and healthy. But for a lot of people, they don't. What I'm saying? Each his own. But like I said, yeah, those emotions you got to feel that. What's wrong with using that as a stepping stone to propel yourself forward? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. It causes a lot of unhealthy emotions though.
Confusion.
Coming back, setting your heart in the right place before you decide to create that distance between.
Let go.
Yeah, yeah. Because how can you even come to the conclusion to let go in the first place if your heart wasn't right somewhere?
Yeah.
If that's not what you truly wanted, be honest with yourself. If that's not what you truly wanted, how did that even become a thought in your mind? For it to be a thought in your mind, there has to be some type of truth, especially in an argument, and you that means you really sought out a lot of things, and that might be something that you really want. Who knows? But hopefully, if you do get that, and in that distance, you have your heart in the right place, and you find whatever it is that you need to find.
Yeah, man. Would you say that a lot of the times whenever you had to let go, it was because your passion didn't align with someone else's,
I would say that's what kept me there.
kept you there?
Yeah,
Or their your passion and their lack of,
that's what kept me there.
that's what kept you there. Okay.
What helped me leave was knowing that I was making the right decision, knowing that I did my duty, my due diligence, and I know always gonna be left off in a better position. Yeah, leaving with the right heart, man. Passion versus love. You can leave when you're separating yourself from somebody that you love for all the right reasons. With love, it's still gonna bother you. It's still gonna hurt
I
because
imagine
love.
if you're passionate when leaving, there's less regret. There's less left on the table. There's less, you know what I mean? There's less attachment. The minute you put down your passion is when you can quickly spiral down, bro.
You can't put down
Rapidly.
your passion, man.
Ah, man.
Passion versus love. There's no. Is this the right thing? You know it's the right thing. With passion, there is you can't second guess your passion. You can second guess your love because love will allow yourself to do all kinds of stuff that is absolutely harmful. It'll allow you to remain in a harmful situation. But your passion will say, you did the best you could do. Now it's time to move on. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
it's really hard to misplace your passion because it's something you truly believe in. And everything that you truly believe in is just going to be righteous. Everything that's righteous to you, you can never be wrong in your pursuit to honor that. It boils down to self love, man, self care. We are trying to figure a lot of stuff out because society is very different. Society has taught us to be one way, and those rules don't apply to they don't apply anymore. But the core principle of life is always going to be there. It's always going to exist, and that is figure it out while you're here and try to have fun while you're doing it.
Hmm.
But there's just so many things that society used to help people with that just doesn't apply today.
Yeah, I was talking to Mike, bro. We were talking about wisdom. And he was talking about how, you know, wisdom. And we came to the realization, at least I did. I'm sure he was probably already aware, but that and it hit me because I was like, wow, what wisdom is just so today now is forever changing, right? And it's when a whole different time, whole different era, and what people may see as wisdom, if I have any wisdom, it's just what I perceive to be my intelligence, but it's not found anymore. It's intelligence that isn't found anymore because we live in a whole different system, a whole different
Correct.
society. You know what I mean? So what I think is just to class what I classified as maybe intelligence is now wisdom because these young men they don't know they can't fight they weren't given this they don't even know what I mean so to them it's wisdom and that's just
Hmm.
it's just intelligence that isn't found anymore. um and it's tough because it's I can't imagine I'm getting screwed just experiencing these society as it is, but I can't imagine being brought up like from the ground up in the now.
Oh,
Just
without any
yeah,
guidance,
without any guidance. You know what I mean?
you just got to figure it out, man.
Yeah,
But I think that would make you the most, not the most, but that would make you a very foolish and wise person. You got to experience a lot to know a lot.
yeah.
A lot of people can read books and know. A lot of people just need the experience to know. But do you really know when you know the experience? That's just secondhand knowledge. When you experience it, it's a different understanding to it. Like we were saying with the sayings, so you experience what that saying is primarily about on different fronts of life as well, like in your 20s, 40s, 60s. The same saying may mean something completely different every three or every point in your life. So when you experience it, it can mean the same thing, but it's more than likely gonna mean something completely different.
When it hits, is it when the knowing connects with the experience, and when the experience connects with the knowing? Because we also see it time and time where people have the experiences over and over and over again, and they never change, they never learn or anything. So is it when the knowing and the experience, when both are had?
Is that when it becomes wisdom, or is that when it becomes like
I
an
guess a knowing.
experience that's understood, maybe?
Yeah, an
Oh,
experience is
knowing, the
understood.
knowing.
Yeah, the knowing.
That I guess that's what we would define knowing as, is
Yeah,
the
an
experience that's
experience is
actually
understood.
understood rather than
Yeah.
interpreted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the
So
difficult thing about vision. Everybody's always trying to fight to control belief. All of these
yeah,
organizations, all this education out here trying to control belief. That's the whole concept of life right now, man, or at least the war of life. And yeah, the vision is important to have because once you have the vision, you can start chasing to have that experience. Once you have the experience, now you have the knowledge and the wisdom, and you can move on to the next pursuit.
but even
Careful.
even 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 given wisdom, well, you can't really be given wisdom, but
I mean, people can tell you, like the sayings.
yeah, but then
People can tell you.
it's not wisdom until you experience it.
Well, it's their wisdom. You just don't understand it. It's like secondhand information at that point. Like,
Yeah.
can you call it what you can call it wisdom, but it's not your wisdom. It's their wisdom
Mhm.
because they know they know what's up.
It's like hieroglyphics of language. It's a passing down of secondhand experiences. You know what I mean? And we can't really do nothing. We weren't there. We weren't there when they were writing on the wall, so we don't know. We can only just interpret. It's unless we were there, then we can understand it.
What we have to start doing now for ourselves is reinterpreting our language, reinterpreting what each word means, our code, dissect the code,
Mm,
right? And figure out what it means to you. Figure out what it's supposed to mean, figure out what it means to you, and try to make it align somehow with what it means or what it's supposed to mean with everybody else so you can communicate better.
mm. And have more passion in what you're
Yeah,
saying and what you're doing. Yeah,
yeah. It makes it easier to have passion. It makes it
yeah,
easier to say what you mean and mean what you say and to be happier for people because you're able to communicate your pure heart's intent with them, regardless if they lie to you, if they harm you, or love you, or pleasure you. Because I started off with negative stuff, so I had to bring it to like good stuff, I guess. But regardless, you're able to communicate with them properly,
Yeah.
and that's probably the best gift that you can give yourself is the ability to communicate with someone properly, so your heart is not misunderstood.
Mm.